Huh? Should I go change or what?
TV star.
Hey, Mike. David Moore, Dallas Morning News. What, if anything, will Smith and Wilson do today, and what do their prospects of potentially being ready for Sunday look like?
I think both of them are in a similar category. They'll work with Britt today, and really the goal is to, for them to get out there and practice, at the end of the week. But they will not work today.
And on someone like on Smith, who has the hamstring strain, there's a threshold to return. But do you ever factor in a soft tissue injury early in the season? And even though you reach the threshold, or when you reach the threshold, does that hit their back, or do you say, well, this early in the year, you don't want to mess with it?
No, definitely. I mean, there's thresholds. Once they cross, they play. So that doesn't change. I just think that every injury is a little different. The injury to the individual is always different. Tyler's specific case, he hasn't had this injury before, so this is part of that experience. So no, we have an excellent system in place, and and Britt will get his hands on him today, and we'll see where he is.
All right, so before we start, what exactly happened with Tyler's injury? Did you just pull it before practice? Or?
No, it happened in the individual drill. So.
And who are the options? If he can't go, who are the options at that point?
Well, I mean, I think it's obvious. I mean, we'll look at a couple guys this week, and we'll announce that 90 minutes before the game.
Todd.
Mike Toller for the ESPN. How different are the Giants skill guys? How different do they look skill-wise?
More speed. I think the first thing I just talking about the defense. So, but I think the biggest thing we're focused on. I mean, the personnel. We obviously acknowledge that the additions that they've made. But this time of year, to me, September football. There's so much that's in common, and you got to watch that you don't chase every ghost. In all three phases. I just came from a conversation that is fresh on my mind with that. But they do a lot. They're scheme heavy through all their phases, and but their offensive playmaker has gone up obviously with the additions. So we're focused on that.
Side.
The Athletic. You guys have had some trouble with stopping the run, but have also been good at containing Barkley. What's kind of been the difference there, and why have you guys been able to?
I mean, it's the question's obviously very specific to last year. It's something I talked about Monday. The only thing that really carries forward from last year to this year is statistically is your reputation. So if you look at the way we're built on defense, I think we really established that in 21. It was definitely the case in 22. People are going to try to run the football on us because of the success of our pass rush, and we've been the best in the league 2 years in a row taking the ball away. So I think the obvious is it starts with the run game, and the things that come off of that. So we've committed more time, which we have on offense too, to help our defense training camp on the action pass game, because obviously we expect the run to be a focal point each and every week, and the action pass off of that is something that we got to do a really good job of.
With Barkley in particular, what challenges does he present?
Well, he's a dynamic back. I think like anything, when you look at a running back, can he play all three downs? Absolutely. He's a good pass protector. I think he's exceptional coming out of the backfield, and he has the ability to hit the long runs too. So he can make you miss, has the speed to close the deal. So he's a complete back.
Nick Harris, DallasCowboys.com. What kind of challenge awaits for the Giants' defensive front? What kind of challenge is that for you guys, especially if Tyler can't go?
Well, I think the Giants' front is the first of many division battles. I mean, it's an outstanding front. So much is said about both the defensive tackles. Excellent players, a lot of respect for the way they play, and I think they're definitely have come in their own. I thought last year, particularly end of the year, they were playing at an extremely high level. So I do like their edge guys. I think their edge guys are better than advertised. So I think this is an excellent front.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Mike, your defense was the #1 pressure-generating defense a year ago. The Giants' O-line was the worst, or allowed the most quarterback pressures. What are your thoughts about that matchup entering Sunday?
Well, I think it's the beauty of the offseason. It's the beauty of September football. I think the fact that you have unscouted looks, they've had a chance to go through scheme evaluation. They've obviously added, players both through the draft and in free agency. So, but yeah, I mean, we're looking at the matchups. Really had time to plan to do. We're about a day and a half ahead of where we normally would be at this point in the week, and I think that serves us well because we're getting to the point where we're just really focused on what we need to do. And so, like I said, they're scheme heavy. We've put a lot of time into it, and we're off to a good week. But yeah, as far as last year, it's noted, it's understood. You anticipate, but really, I mean, your scheme, entry that started last week for us, it really needs to focus on who we feel we are at this point in the season.
Jess.
Coach Jess Navarez, PFN. Can you talk about the strength within this offensive line, specifically with Tyler Biadasz, and what an underrated asset he really is to this line, and especially with the chippiness that has been more talked about? Is that something new, or is that something you've always seen out of Tyler?
Well, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't look at Tyler as being underrated. I mean, I saw him in Vegas at the Pro Bowl playing flag football, so I think that says a little bit about where he, sits in the league. And I think he's a player that's really coming his own. I really like his climb. He went through the tough moments as a young center, but yeah, I think he's playing with tremendous confidence to play that position in the league. Period. You think about job responsibility. The closer you are to the football, the more responsibility you have, and obviously the center and quarterback have the most. I think he does an excellent job of that. I think he's coming into his time where he's changed his body. So I think he's the anchor that we need up there. I think he's exactly what you're looking for.
Calvin.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. I got two for you. Sam Williams, will he go at all today?
Sam, no, he'll be limited today. He'll be with Britt. Yeah.
Is this one of those weeks where Trey can give you a really good look on the movement of what Daniel Jones can do?
You don't like Cooper moving the ball?
I like Cooper. I love Cooper.
Trey moves a little better, yeah, that's for sure. But no, absolutely. We had a chance to practice last week and get into the look teams and the cards and that whole process because there's always a little bit of adjustment to make sure you get it the way you want it. Having Trey out there definitely will be part of that process too. So, because the look team, that work is so important. So yes, that's definitely on the table.
John Michaud, The Athletic. Popular topic amongst with the New York media is and how much success you guys have had against the Giants. The players have been asked a lot about not being able to beat the Cowboys recently and kind of how much success you guys have been able to have. Do you have to say anything to your team about that, about maybe not overlooking anybody just because you have had so much recent success?
Yeah, we're aware of it. It was part of the comparable, introduction on Monday. So we're aware of the success. I think all those things are good to be aware of because you may get a dynamic question about it in the press conference. But so you got to be able to answer it. But but it's last year, and I mean understand that we're not going up there and throwing our helmet in the middle of the field and think we're okay by no means. I mean it doesn't factor in how we're going to look at this game or how we look at their personnel. We know we're going into a live venue. It's going to be exciting. It's Sunday night football, so we're more focused on the particulars of this game, and that's the beauty of division football. Because really records don't mean much in division games because your division games historically are always the toughest, and I anticipate this will be a tough football game Sunday night.
Mike, you told us in Oxnard to ask you when the season started about the theme. What's your theme that you guys are doing?
The theme. Yeah. The theme is Carpe Omnia, seize everything. So presented it to the team today, and it just really has a few parts to it. And frankly, probably the players should speak on it because I'd be curious how much they paid attention. But it's a good theme. I think themes are important. They come to you at different points of the off season. So this kind of came a little different. I think it needs to illustrate where you feel your football team's at, where they are in their progression towards winning a championship. And I think it's it's very, very difficult to win a Super Bowl in this league. There's no question about it. That's proven each and every year. But sustaining success is, I think personally, in my experience, is a bigger challenge. So just giving them, the touch tone to just connect with, Carpe, C's, Omnia, everything. So is the way we're looking at this season, and it's, we have an empty picture frame in the front of the team room, and illustrating, pictures pictures say 1,000 words, but the reality of it is an empty frame is everything, because it's all the possibilities, capabilities, what's in front of us, and are we going to do what we need to do every single day, everything that we possibly can do to fill that frame and be part of the history and tradition of the Dallas Cowboys. So, little cliff notes here for you. So.
Scott.
Skyler Dixon with DAP. A little bit related to that, on the defense in general, you had Gilmore, Micah, and the rest of those guys are a year older, another year together. How poised is that group to be kind of an anchor for where you guys want to go?
I mean, great question. Talked about it Monday, and when you look at the structure of our staff, our roster, the 75 players in the building. I mean, we have a little more veteran leadership than you may, just by adding some of those veterans. So the experience has gone up in the room, and really my big message here is, because it was a 37% of our players were not here last year, so one out of every third player was not here. So just to really tap into that veteran leadership and experiences there. But the point I'm making is you can feel the additions. I think that the veterans are very conscientious of, not only bringing what they do to the table, but helping the younger players. So, we have these meetings, young players and young guns, our young coaches, and in the veteran leadership too. So you're always trying to find ways to grow the bottom half of your roster, and I think we have an outstanding group that helps us in that area.
Mike McCarthy, Dallas Morning News. Your team is light in terms of body type.
Light?
Yeah, in terms of linebackers, you're pretty light there. One's a converted safety, only 3 tight ends. How do you adapt to your special teams without kind of that larger body type that I know you talk about liking?
Well, it's a numbers game, and it's no different in special teams. I mean, both sides still play with 11, and how they match up, and the amount of speed versus body type and length. So, I mean, you just got to be conscientious of it for matchups. But what I do like, and I think it really starts with your punt team. I mean, I do like the fact that we have young players that we're really excited about, and I've been living in that world for a long time. But when you do have a group that you're real excited about, you can grow with 2, 3, 4 years down the road. I think that's exciting. The only part about that is it's, week one is, there's a newness to it and the experience part of it. And, that all factors in how you're going to play and how you're going to utilize these guys. Because, when we get done with the 49-man roster for the game Sunday, we got to make sure that everybody contributes. I mean, this 17th game is real, and everything we do training-wise is, we have a 21-game plan. That's the way we look at it. So everything we do is set towards, winning 21 games or, going to compete for 21 games. And so the utilization of your 49 is important. So those body types and all those are definitely part of the matchup focus.
Babe.
Babe Loffenberg, Cowboys Radio. You've talked about the cumulative effect of the 17-game schedule, and it's going to go to 18 sooner rather than later. Major League Baseball, 5-man rotation, NBA load management. Do you foresee a day, and have you talked about doing something like that, where a guy plays 5, rests 1?
Well, I would say we're already there. I mean, I probably don't want to answer this honestly because I don't want to talk about it anymore. But no, I think it's part of the training formula for your team. I mean, you have to understand, and as a head coach, I was always coaching a young team, but when you have a chance to coach a Charles Woodson at the end of his Julius Peppers, and these conversations you learn from your veteran players, what they need during the week over the long course of the season, and help because the goal is obviously to win as many games as you possibly can, but you want to be playing your best football and be as healthy as possible at the end of the year. So I know for our operation that we're already there. I mean, we look at the GPS after every practice. Look at every individual's loads. measure them towards the loads that they exhibit in the games. So we do all those things already, and it's, definitely with the foresight of, just try to limit the risk the best we can to get to the end.
Would you foresee somewhere down the road, players, again, playing 5-6 games, taking a week, so that they can rest?
Well, I think our game's different. You're only guaranteed 17. So, this, I think the setup's a bit different, but to a certain level, I think it already exists in my opinion.
Mike Jonah Javad, WFAA. Micah, going into year 3, how have you seen him grow as a person and player kind of over these few years, and what are your expectations for him this season?
Well, I think, Micah, his obviously extremely gifted, but I mean, he's so competitive and he's a sponge-like. He's a quarterback type personality, and I don't mean it. I mean that in a positive way, where he's really into everything. So he is a great example of carpe omnia, because he's trying to seize everything. So and he does it with such a competitive fire. And he has, tremendous skill and gifts to go with that. So I said, to answer your question, I just see him growing in every way. I see, the responsibility he has off the field, just to, really, I thought he did a really good job with his off-season plan, his personal plan that all these players in today's NFL have to have away from the facility, just because of the way it's structured now. So I think he's taken that step that you want to see all your younger players there. So he's surrounded himself in a good way there. So yeah, and his understanding of the defense is significantly higher today than it was this time last year, and definitely his first year. So I don't know if there's an area where he hasn't grown.
Will he be seizing a goal line carry at some point this year?
He's how much he pay you to ask you that question? Okay.
All right, thank you.
Good.